Welcome to Week 10 of the In the Zone Racing League here at Richmond International Raceway, and we are set tonight for what will be the last race before the chase. The field is packed for what will be an exciting race, obviously here Wednesday night short track racing at Richmond, which has been known for some of the most tall tales in NASCAR, and we bring it to Richmond here tonight, and there's a lot to expect. We've got a huge field of over 30 cars ready to go, and well, I guess we're just waiting for the green flag at this point. And obviously, since only 12 drivers do make this point, we've got a close battle for that final spot as William Fletcher is the last guy in right now. And just right behind him is going to be Doug Giller, and he's only 2 points back, so for sure, one slip by William and Doug could be in as well. You've got guys like Matthew Hicks. He's up there as well. Christopher Kurdziel, who we saw last week. Up front, all he has to do is make that performance happen again tonight, and he might be in. And just a bunch of other guys right around that bubble mark that, if they make one mistake tonight, that could ruin what they've been trying to really do in this season so far.
Yep, we've seen some crazy things happen this season, and this is a short track. Anything can happen here. Tempers flare. Beating and banging and all that, so it's going to be a good show tonight, especially with the chase on the line. And as they're ready to grid, we will go over the starting lineup here for tonight's race. On pole tonight will be the number 157 of Andrew Fash III, and to his outside, joining him on the front row, will be the number 31 of Eric Myers. In row 2, we have Christopher Kurtzel in the number 7, followed by Bill Brown in the number 84. And in the third row, rounding out the top 5, will be number 9 of Jeff Ramsdell. And in the 6th position, we have Matthew Hicks in the number 66.
Starting 7th in tonight's event will be Kevin Malone in the number 13, and to his outside is the number 96 of Austin Atkinson. And starting 9th in tonight's race will be William Long, trying to come off that tough finish last week, so we'll see what he can do in tonight's event. And to his outside will be the number 29 of Chad Lang. Next row, we've got the number 99 of Scott Rutherford, and to his outside, the number 38 of Chad Coleman.
Starting in the 13th position will be the number 55 of Trevor Dalton, and to his outside will be the number 2 of Travis Pinney. And in the next row, rounding out the top 15, will be the number 5 of Bill Tomer, and to his outside, the number 76 of Corey England. In the 17th, we have the number 67 of Lee Walker, and to his outside will be the number 70 of J.D. Laird.
Starting 19th and just in the chase is the number 01 of Jason Van Cleek. He's going to have a solid night tonight to keep his chase hopes alive. And to his outside will be the number 83 of Daniel Lavere. In the next row, we have the number 41 of Nick Lancaster, starting 21st, and to his outside, yet another guy. Right on the bubble looking in will be William Fletcher. Starting 23rd in tonight's event will be Doug Giller, as once again a guy on the bubble. These guys are starting right under a blanket near each other, so definitely they're going to want to keep each other in their sights in tonight's event, and to his outside will be the number 02 of Scott Gieswith.
In the number 25 spot, we have the number 77 of Byron Daly, and to his outside, the number 25 of Joe Nunziata. As we get down to the last few cars in the field, we have, starting in 27th, we have the number 71 of Peter Fisher, and to his outside with the number 51 of Fred Morrow. And then 29th, we have the number 19 of Damon Burnett, and to his outside will be the number 75 of Chris Largent.
And the final row in tonight's event will be the number 42 of Chris Circos, and to his outside, rounding out the field, will be the number 89 of Thomas Mitzer. And as I look around at this entire field, we do have to note, before we go green, the server is experiencing some ping issues, and that can be very, very deadly, because if you're right near someone and the server goes bad and you get into them and you really didn't get into them, as we call netcode, that could create a lot of problems, and we'll continue to watch that in tonight's event for sure.
And we haven't really seen many server problems with this before, but they're obviously experiencing some tonight. We'll have to see how that goes. But right now it looks all good, and just looks to be a good race tonight. And another thing we should point out, like we said, going over the grid, we do have a lot of guys tonight, about 4 or 5 racing for that bubble spot in the chase. We mentioned, I think the highest starting third, Christopher Kurtzel has a mathematical shot of getting in. He will be the highest starting of all of them who has a shot. But they're out of 4 coming to the green.
Turn 4, Andrew Fash leads them down as a rocket off to start. We are green, and he got an amazing start for sure. Great way to start this event.
Fash gets out to the early lead going into turn 1, going through turn 2. 1 out of 2, Fash will hold the lead. Eric Myers will hold second for now. Christopher Kurtzel will take a look to the inside going into turn 3.
Yeah, definitely the word go is in the head of Christopher Kurtzel as he takes the second spot away, and that's what you got to do if you have just that big goal, and there's a word of caution.
Lap 2 will be the first caution of the night. Looks like it was towards the back half of the field.
Looks like Byron Daly got a piece of that as well.
Yeah, it looks like the 94 of that is one of the chase bubble guys, Doug Giller. It's turned into the wall, but right into the 25. Byron Daly gets a piece of it. Number 71 gets a piece of it. Peter Fisher, Chris Largen was involved. It's a pretty substantial wreck for lap 1.
I see a lot of these cars also got some front end damage. You can clearly see that on Chris's cars. He's got some severe front damage, and looks like Byron Daly's got his front and his rear crunched in 2 different ways, so definitely not the way they wanted to start this event out. But it's short track racing, so just get it mostly fixed, and usually aerodynamics are not a big deal here, so just get the damage fixed the best you can, and I guess just go out there and keep going.
Yeah, this is one of those short tracks, so you do need speed. You also need your aerodynamics, but it is a short track. Anything can happen. So it's really early in this race to tell really who's got anything and if anybody's really done. But all the cars I see on pit road, it looks like a lot of them are pretty tore up to begin with.
And while we're watching the cars pace under our first yellow, we'll take this time to take our first commercial break. Don't go away. You're watching Week 10 of the In the Zone Racing League here at Richmond International Raceway. And we're back live here at Richmond International Raceway. And before we get to green here, just want to mention that this is the In the Zone Racing League's nationwide series race. And this is week 10, the final week, as we said before the chase. And really, lots are at stake as the green flag is out.
Andrew Fash gets another good jump on the field. This time on Christopher Kurtzel on the outside. Kurtzel will fall into the second spot on the inside, going into turn 1.
See some contact there, maybe even Eric Myers, but definitely someone got together with the number 9 of Jeff Ramsdell, and he's going to get out of line for a little bit there. Especially want to watch that with how the server's acting up here tonight.
Yeah, always close racing here at Richmond, so netcode could happen at any time. So it looks like the first 6 are single file. First battle we have looks like to be the 7th spot, which is between Chad Coleman and Chad Lang. It looks like Coleman will grab that spot.
Yeah, Chad and Chad going at it. Chad Coleman obviously trying to rebound after that huge wreck on the pack stretch at Charlotte last week. He's looking for a nice run tonight, and certainly starting off on the right foot as he's currently 7th overall.
Now they pretty much single file for the first 9. First battle we have now is for the 10th position between William Long and Kevin Malone. That's 2 bubble drivers. We'll see. Looks like William will get that spot away from Kevin.
It looks like these guys are looking just to log some laps here. It's only 130 laps, which does go by pretty fast here at Richmond, and especially after last week when we had a caution-filled first half of the race. I think these guys are sorting it out and just trying to log some laps at this point.
Yeah, another thing we should mention, though, from last week, we saw the pit strategy that was taking place on the pit stops with 2 tires, 4 tires staying out. I don't know if we'll see as much of that here. 4 tires usually is the way to go, especially being on a short track, but then again, a lot of people do want track position. So it is not very easy to pass on this track over the long run, so that'll be another thing to watch, the pit strategy over the course of this race.
Just keeping you updated on some of the guys in the points. Doug Gieler, who was caught up in that first caution, is 28th right now, 3 laps down, so that's definitely not what he wanted in tonight's event. You have William Fletcher. He's out there a good 8 seconds off the pace. He's 25th. In 22nd is Jason Van Cleek. And then up here you got William Long in 10th, who is one of those guys who's going to need a Hail Mary's worth of a night to get in. And he's definitely going to have to gain a lot more ground than 10th to get there, but definitely a good start at least at this point.
Yeah, these guys, a couple points back, about 10 points back. They're gonna need a big night here tonight. And well, we see Christopher Kurtzel in 2nd. He's about 10 points back. He's obviously running very well right now. Matthew Hicks is on the outside looking in. He's running in the 6th position right now. So we got the points guys outside looking in. They're running pretty strong. But on the flip side, you got the guys inside the top 12. On the bubble, such as Van Cleek, Fletcher, and the guys outside, just like Daniel Lavier. They're not so much towards the front right now. I mean, it is a long race, but guys outside the top 12 are really showing their muscle right now.
Yeah, I don't believe any of those cars got damaged, at least from that wreck. William Fletcher might have a couple of scrapes on his front end, but for the most part, I think those guys just trying to take it easy. That, or they're maybe struggling with their setups. Really depends on what they're thinking right now. But so far, especially Christopher Kurtzel, he's out there. As he just got past the 2nd position now, as he's 3rd, he's still out there running the best by far out of anybody else.
As we were talking about all of them, Andrew Fash has pulled out to about his 2nd lead over Eric Myers now, as they are working lap 17, coming to lap 18 here. It looks like Fash has got the field covered, at least for now. See if he can keep this up if we get a long green flag run here. Especially going to another thing we should mention. Green flag pit stops here are not very easy, if we do get any. Getting onto pit road here is one of the toughest on the circuit. So that'll be interesting to watch to see if we get them.
Yeah, it seems like when you go into turn 3, all of a sudden there is the pit entry, and there's not really any chance for you to slow it all the way down to the pit speed, and obviously that's something that isn't done often here at Richmond, since it's a very short course, or short track as we like to call it, and I don't know if we'll see that tonight, but if we do, it can definitely impact the outcome of the race.
Yep, they usually say that races can be won or lost on pit road, and this is definitely a case like that in this race. Well, as we were talking about that, it looks like Eric Myers is starting to reel in Andrew Fash for the lead, as it looks like the lead is down to less than half a second. I'm not sure if Andrew's just been wearing out his tires or just saving some tires right now, or if Eric is really that much faster. Looks like Andrew is falling off just a little bit as they're going to go past the lap cars. Got guys in the O2 right now. That'll put him 1 lap down. Actually, excuse me, 5 laps down.
Yeah. Eric Myers is definitely the fastest car in the top 4. The rest of the top 4 are running identical lap times. So it's pretty spread out so far, but definitely I think Eric Myers has got the upper hand at this point. But the question is how aggressive will he be with Andrew Fash, as we're still well over 100 laps to go.
Yeah, even though this is a short track, you got to keep your patience in check all the time, and that's exactly what Eric Myers has to do right now. As we have over 100 laps to go, so there is still plenty of time in this race. But like you said before, 130 laps does go by fairly quick. There's not the most amount of time to get by him, but there still is a lot. So Eric's got to be careful here. Don't overdrive anything, and just take his time and see if he can get by Andrew.
Yeah, he's just continuing to cut into that lead. It's down to almost 0.3 of a second now. And it seems like he clicks off at least half a tenth every lap. And there he goes again. It's now down to under 0.3 of a second. So Eric definitely, it seems like he's got the fastest car in the field at this point, as he just can roll the center. It looks like a lot better than Andrew right now.
And while we have the battle for the lead, it looks like they're 1 car on the move in the top 10. Is the number 38 of Chad Coleman. He is about to take the 5th position away from Matthew Hicks, and he will do that. Chad's starting to make some headway in the top 10 here.
Yeah, I was running 7th those first couple laps. He's up to 5th now, and he's got a couple of cars in front of him that he can easily get a top 3 if he gets by those two, Bill Brown and Christopher Kurtzel. So definitely he's on his way to a rebound week.
And as we speak of that, we have a battle for the lead now. It looks like Eric Myers will take the lead away from Andrew Fash. So Eric has run Andrew down from the second back, and he's taking over the lead, see if he can pull away here.
Yeah, I think Andrew kind of realizing right now there's a long way in the race to go, and realizes Eric is just a little bit faster than him, so he lets him go. Probably the smart thing to do at this point, and we'll see how things settle out. But definitely Eric is the fastest car on the track looking at lap times.
It looks like the field is spread out for the most part. It looks like we have about the top 7 cars back to the number 9 at Jeff Ramsell within about 3 seconds of each other. And then we have 8th place Chad Lang about a second back from Jeff. So we have other than the top 7, we have a pretty spread out field here right now. But this is a short track, so caution could come out at any time. Pretty much how many battles on the racetrack right now is, I think, it's like, pretty much single file.
Yeah, it looks like our leader's going to be coming up on some lap trap. He got some guys who were involved in that first caution that he can now see, Eric Myers can now see in front of him, and that includes Corey England, Christopher Largen, Chris Circos, and I believe Nick Lancaster's also back there. That's up to 24th, so lap traffic definitely going to be a factor in tonight's event, as well as we have over 30 cars still running on the track. So I think definitely we'll see how Eric can get through lap traffic compared to Andrew, who's still...
Oh, we have problems! Oh, trouble for the 4th place car, Bill Brown. Chad Coleman's around.
Yeah, Chad Coleman's around. He's backwards down the backstretch. He's going to have to get that thing pointed in front, but looking back at that, it looks like Bill Brown just lost it right in front of him.
Yeah, it looks like Bill just got a little bit loose into 2, or into 1, and there's really nowhere for Chad to go, and he just spun it around, but it looked like Chad's damage is too bad. Bill did back it into the wall, so we'll have to see how bad he is.
To Chad's defense, it looks like he got some help from number 66 and Matthew Hicks too, and I think Matthew might have got into Chad there substantially and turned him around, but it looks like Jeff Ramsell also gets a piece of Chad after that, and that could definitely damage Jeff's car as well, as Chad did a nice job of just rolling it backwards on the backstretch till it was safe to get that car pointed in the right direction, but definitely a pretty major accident here is for just past 30 laps in.
Yeah, all the leaders are going to pit here. All 27 of them on the lead lap right now. I don't think we'll see any two-tire stops here, as we have gone 34 laps without pitting, so we'll see if anybody decides to roll the dice, but I don't think we will see that. And looks like the first guy out will be Chad Coleman, but I think Chad missed his pit or something. Was involved in that wreck, but it looks like the first car out will be Eric Myers of the leaders.
Yeah, it looks like Chad's coming right back in, so that car has definitely got some damage anyways, so probably good call on him. And Eric Myers will keep the lead, so it's a relatively routine pit stop, and 30 laps in, definitely the right call to come down and get 4 tires. Not saying 2 tires isn't a bad call, it's just after 30 laps it just only makes sense to come in and take 4 at that point. And while we are under our second caution, we're going to take this chance to take another commercial break. You are watching Week 10 of the In the Zone Racing League here at Richmond International Raceway. Don't go away. We are back here at Richmond International Raceways. We are 1 to go down the backstretch here, and coming off that second caution here, we are still just under now 100 laps to go, and action, I guess, is going to start picking up now as we are at our third restart of the race, and Eric Myers is off.
Another good start by Eric Myers on the field. That is Andrew Fashion. Second is we have Christopher Kurzel will take that spot away from Andrew going into turn 1. Coming out of 2, Christopher Kurzel will take over second from Andrew. Andrew will fall back to third, and right behind him will be Matthew Hicks.
Yeah, these guys once again getting spread out at least up front for the most part. So as there's another caution on the speedway.
Looks to be a wreck towards the back half of the field. Not sure who wrecked here. It looks like the 94 of Doug Giller got spun around. It looks like the 76. So they were 3 wide going to turn 3, and the 76 of Corey England just slid up into 94 and spun him around. It doesn't look like Doug has much damage though, but Doug is one of the bubble guys, but he is not having the night he hoped for. He is 23 laps down.
Yeah, definitely disappointment there for sure, and I guess just a product of impatience there. You're going 3 wide there just off a restart, and still a long way to go in this race, so hopefully those guys will be alright, but definitely a tough break for guys like Corey England who were just minding their business, and all of a sudden 3 wide and bam. While we're under caution here, I believe we are going to be catching up with our leader, our current leader, Eric Myers, so just give us a second on that one. We are here with Eric Myers, and Eric, so far you're off to the lead and you seem to be the fastest car. How's the car working for you?
The car is really good. It's a bit tight on the early laps, and then it seems the right rear tire builds up a bit of pressure. It gets a bit loose off. Other than that, it's pretty quick.
Alright, well we still got a long ways to go in this race. Obviously you're the leader, so it's pretty easy to just put the pedal to the metal and go out there, but when it gets down to crunch time, do you plan on going aggressive, or you just want to keep the lead at this point?
I'd like to get the lead, but right now I'm just trying to keep points for making myself better in the chase. Hopefully keeping in the top 5 for now.
Alright, and definitely, and is there anyone you want to thank so far that's helping you out in this race?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for showing up this year in the league. ITZR it's been a really fun league this year, and it definitely wouldn't be possible without everyone helping me out. Bill, Scott, and Needham, everyone that's showed up this year and helping me out, and everyone in the league. It's definitely been a fun year.
Alright, and that was Eric Myers, our current leader under this caution, and so far has been dominating this race for the most part after passing Andrew Fayesh, the third, just under, I believe it was that first initial run, about 15 laps in, so definitely Eric will, as he said, want to keep the lead at this point as we are now 1 degree.
Yeah, we have basically seen Eric lead most of this race for the last 20 laps or so, ever since he got by Andrew. Really hasn't looked back, but he's got a new challenger there on the outside of Christopher Kurtzel. Andrew now back in third. He hasn't been in the second row the entire race, so we'll see how good of a restart he can get.
Yeah, all it takes is one screw up, and Eric can easily be in for a run for his money, at least, with Christopher Kurtzel, who's just been extra dominant in the top 3, and this is his first time in the outside rows. Eric is gone on the restart.
Eric Myers is, like you said, he takes off on the restart. Christopher Kurtzel will fall into second, it looks like. Fash will stay third. Matthew Hicks will stay fourth. Looks like the fifth place car will be Travis Pinney in number 2.
Yeah, it looks like the 13 of Kevin Malone went a little bit high off of turn 1 into turn 2 there, and he lost a couple spots, but he's able to gather it up and keep his top 10 run going. He's still 6th. The field once again spreads out. Seems to be a very familiar term at this point in the race, and Eric Myers is up to just about over half a second of a lead over Christopher Kurtzel.
Yeah, Christopher Kurtzel hanging strong there in second. Andrew starting to reel in Christopher a little bit, but it looks like second to fourth looks to be pretty much in a tight space right now. So we'll see if anybody slips up here and anybody can make a move.
Yeah, in that first one, we saw Andrew Fayesh have one of the best short-run cars as there's caution on the speedway.
Looks like somebody has gotten spun around here in the back. Looks to be the 51, I believe, of Fred Moreau. Looks like the number
67.
Yeah, number 67, Lee Walker, just goes in the corner too deep, and he spins the number 51 around, and I believe is that the 28 of William Fletcher that just has nowhere to go?
Yeah, it looks like it, and that's definitely a tough break for him. He was on the bubble, at least for that point, and last thing he wanted to get in an accident here, and I don't know, we'll see. That car doesn't look too bad, so, and a little bit of front end damage, but still, I think they can beat that out and hopefully get back out there and not lose a lap, but there's still a lot of cars in the back half of this field that need a lot more damage repair that'll now get this chance as we're under yet another caution.
Yeah, we should update you though on the bubble drivers while we are under this caution. Like we've been saying, basically we've been talking about him this entire race. Christopher Kurtzel is the highest running of all the bubble drivers, running in second right now. He's had a very solid race, and so has the number 66, Matthew Hicks. He is also outside looking in, about in that 5 to 10 point range back. So he's having another good race. And
Yeah.
we also see he's not really much of a bubble guy. In 10th place, Trevor Dalton in the points. He is running in the 8th position right now. He is having a good run. Another guy in the top 10 that we really haven't spoken about, but is also on the outside looking in and has a mathematical shot, but to many might not be realistic. Well, he was just top 10, is number 29 at Chad Lang. That last run, he was running in the top 10. He's got a mathematical shot to make it. He's going to need a lot of help, though. But those are really some guys here on the outside looking in, or inside the chase, barely, that are having some solid nights here tonight.
Yeah, Chad Lane came into tonight's event just 16 points outside your top 12, and compared to Matthew Hicks, who is only 8 points coming in tonight's event out of the top 12. So definitely Matthew has a little bit of an easier night compared to the rest of some of these drivers, at least. Just got to keep that consistency up at this point for Matthew and Christopher, and they will do the best they can, at least. The rest of this race is still a long ways to go before everything shakes down, but definitely one small slip and that can pretty much end your championship hopes.
Yeah, there really is still a long way to go in this race. We are about 15 laps from halfway. The drivers have really... It's been a fairly clean race for the most part. They had that about 20 to 30 lap run there at the beginning. Since then, it's kind of been a little shaky, but it looks like these guys, for the most part, are taking it easy right now and just minding their own business. But we've seen basically two cars tonight be the dominant cars, and that was Andrew Fash at the beginning, and then Eric Myers took over. But as we get one to green here, we'll see who can get the upper edge now. See if Eric can continue, or if Andrew or even Christopher Kurtzel can take that over.
Let's just do some quick housekeeping things before we get back to green. There are 24 cars on the lead lap out of the original 32 that started. Christopher Largent is the last car on the lead lap. He was getting crash damage repaired over most of these cautions, and our biggest movers in tonight's event so far is the number 19 of Damon Burnett. He's moved up 19 spots, started 29th, and is currently 10th overall. So that's just some quick facts on the races for getting ready for green.
Pace car goes in. Eric Myers will lead them to the green flag, and he is off and gets a great start in the field once again, going into turn 1.
Yeah, so Matthew Hicks, think about 3 wide there and kind of let off, and he'll fall right behind Andrew Fayash, and these guys are starting to sort it out, I guess, going into turn 3.
Single file for about the first 7 or 8 cars. First battle we have looks like to be for the last top 10 spot, which is between the number 19 of Damon Burnett, the 01 of Jason Van Cleek, and look at that, Chad Coleman in the number 38 after being involved in that wreck, coming back through the field.
Yeah, that crew's done a nice job trying to repair that car. He got hit in the left side door, and they've repaired that pretty much the best they can at this point. And Chad's driving the wheels off of it. You can just see it trying to get back up there. He is at no threat for the points, as he is second overall in the points, but still, you never want to have a bad race. And so far tonight, he's trying to make up for that crash as he's looking for 11.
Once again, Eric Myers gets a pretty substantial lead over the second place car, Christopher Kurtzel. It's about a half a second now. Andrew Fash is working the back bumper of Christopher, and doesn't look like he can do much with him right now.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say before that caution came out, it seems like Andrew Fayash just has a better short run car than some of these guys up front. at least on that first run we saw him fade. For the rest of the race we've seen just shorter runs, so if we get a nice long run here, it'll be a better indicator to see who's got the better car setup, at least for the long run at this point, since it is a fixed setup league, but driver skill and how you drive the tires of the car definitely depends on how fast you are on the long run.
As Eric Myers will come by to lap number 28 of William Fletcher. He is the 12th place guy in points, and he is coming down pit road. Looks like to repair more damage on that car. Looks like that damage was a lot worse than we thought it was when we saw him first make that contact on that last caution. This is big for anybody on the outside looking in, so anybody from 13th on back has got to be excited right now. They just need to run their own race, and they'll have a good shot at making the chase, looks like.
Yeah, William Long, one of the more Hail Mary long threats of this chase for the chase, is 16th right now overall in this race, and he's definitely got to step it up more if he wants to get in. It's a pretty tall task, though, I have to give it that, and hopefully he can maybe get back up there in the end, but for the most part, I think, like I said before, these guys are just trying to ride it out for now.
Yeah, it looks like most of these guys are just taking it easy for now. Looks like we have had a change of position for second and third. Christopher Kurtzel has dropped back to the fourth position. Andrew Fash has gotten up to the second spot, and Matthew Hicks has also gone by Christopher and gotten up to third. Like we said, Christopher is back to fourth. And running in the fifth spot, we haven't talked much about him tonight, but Austin Atkinson, the 96, has made his way quietly up into the top 5, and it looks like he is gaining on these guys, so Austin may have something to say about this before the night's over.
Yeah, definitely. We're starting to see Andrew reel in Eric Myers and continue to stress he just has the better short run feel for the car and the setup at this point, but Eric seems to have the better long run presence. And we are just currently working now lap 64, so we are not quite halfway yet, but still a long ways to go in this race. And if we do happen to get a long run, definitely strict long run handling of the car will come into play.
I believe these drivers will... they're going to be close on fuel, I believe, so if we do go green, pit strategy and fuel conservation will be another big factor. So that's another thing to think if we do get a green flag run here, is who can have the best long run car, who can save the most fuel if they do need to, and who can race it out. And well, there goes that theory. We have a caution on the track, as it looks like the number 99 of Scott Rutherford has he has pretty severe damage. Let's see what happened. Looks like 99 goes into the corner under the 16 of William Long and spins it around and backs it in the wall. And he gets hit hard by the number. Looks like the number 67 of Lee Walker just has nowhere to go, and he hits him. And that destroys both of their cars. And let's not forget, Scott Rutherford is one of the bubble drivers, so that's going to hurt him in the points. He's got a tight margin on 13th, but it's going to be pretty devastating.
Yeah, definitely. That car's got some smoke spewing out of the back, so they're going to have a lot of work to do. The crew will, at least at that point, as we have our leaders on pit road. See some two-tire calls there. That is, I believe, Eric Myers. And now he took 4, never mind. But an interesting note to put out there under this caution, the number 7 of Christopher Kurtzel did stay out, and he did something similar to this last week at Charlotte. He did stay out a couple times, so we'll see what this does for him at least. And we haven't seen this so far tonight, someone staying out.
Looks like most of the... Yeah, Christopher did stay out, or... yeah, we did see something similar like this last week. We saw Bill Brown, I believe he stayed out 3 consecutive runs, rounds of pit stops, and he was able to stay in the top 2 or 3, and we saw where the result he got. He wound up winning the race. So see if Christopher can have the same result.
As we're just past halfway here and working under caution, we'll take this chance to take a commercial break. You're watching Week 10 of the ITZR Racing League's nationwide series here at Richmond International Raceway. Back live here, we've got one to go on, at least now turn 3 heading in here. Remember, we do have the number 7 of Christopher Kurtziel, who did stay out. The rest of the field is on 4 tires as we are green.
Kurtziel gets a great start on the field. Eric Myers, not so much. Andrew Fash will take a look under Myers for the second position as they are side by side coming out of turn 2 for the second position, and also for the 4th position between Austin Atkinson and Matthew Hicks.
And some of these guys getting a little bit more aggressive at this point, and it's the race to get to Christopher because Andrew Fash is going to dive it down in there at turn 1, and looks like he will take the lead with ease as he will regain the lead.
Christopher hits the wall, and that was a pretty hard lick for him. See if that affects his car any, but well, we saw what happened with Bill Brown last week staying out. Not sure if Christopher's having the same luck this week.
Yeah, definitely. He looks like he is a roadblock at this point up there as he can't get to the inside. I know he's trying, but there's just so many cars coming as he finally looks like he cuts off to 19 to Damon Burnett there and slides in there. We'll have to monitor his car at least at this point after hitting the wall.
Yeah, he's going to drop back. Oh, 3 wide going into turn, in the middle of turn 2. J.D. Laird on the outside, Christopher Kurtziel in the middle, and Chad Lang on the bottom. Trying to take both of those spots away, and it looks like he will do it as J.D. Laird goes up to the 3rd groove. Bill Brown now taking a look, and J.D. Laird hard in the wall.
Oh, and that hit, that was probably the hardest hit of the night right there for J.D., and he absolutely creamed that wall a lot harder than Christopher hit it for sure, and we know Christopher's car is hurt, and definitely JD's car is really hurt now, so that's definitely a tough break, but guys like Chad Lang and Damon Burnett who split it 3 wide there, they definitely benefited, and they're up to 6th and 7th at this point.
Yeah, we haven't seen much out of Damon tonight. Damon Burnett in the number 19, he started it all the way back in the 29th spot, and this makes it 23 spots that he has gained tonight, so he's just minding his way through the field and, stayed out of the wrecks, kept his car clean, and worked his way almost up to the top 5 now, as he looks to catch Austin Atkinson 96 and catching up to his back bumper here going into turn 3.
Yeah, and in this league it's been proven that some of the guys who start in the back usually end up winning or at least finishing up front when it all concludes, so we'll see if Damon can keep that trend going tonight.
Meanwhile, up front, Andrew Fash has sustained about a half a second lead over Eric Myers. But like we've been saying the entire night, we've seen Andrew fall off in the long run and Eric thrive in the long run. So we'll have to see here in about a couple laps here if Eric's car will come in or if Andrew's will fall off.
Yeah, it seems like Andrew pulled out to about a second lead, and then Eric started reeling it back in. Right now it's up to about 6.5 of a second, so just over half a second of a lead at this point, as it stays pretty much even that time by. And I don't know, when we cross the stripe this next time by, we will be 50 laps to go, so it's definitely getting down to crunch time at this point.
Yeah, 50 laps here at Richmond is not a very long time. Running about 20-21 seconds around this track. Yeah, this race it's coming down to it. But as we were speaking about that, we had a change for the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions. Austin Atkinson, Damon Burnett, and Chad Lang all moving up one. So moved Austin into 4th, Damon into the top 5 and 5th. Chad Lang up to 6th, dropped Travis Pinney back to 7th. We should also mention another guy that's had a very good recovery here tonight. Bill Brown in the number 84. We saw him backed into the wall. I think it was the second caution of the race. He was running in 4th, and he's just now making his way back into the 7th spot. He's still got a long time to go. He's got time to get up to the top 5, but I'm not sure if he's going to catch Andrew without a caution here. And even Eric.
Yeah, he definitely just came out of turn 2, and he admitted it, that he just got loose and couldn't hang on to the car, and that car definitely sustained some left door damage, but yet another crew that was able to get it out there and get it fixed, and he's up there now in 7th position, and he's only moving up more and more and more at this point, so. He's also got that smaller pack in front of him as well, so definitely everything's going good for Bill Brown at this point.
Yeah, we're also seeing, we were just speaking about him, Damon Burnett and Chad Lang. Both of them, they are both making some moves out there. Now they're up to the 4th and 5th positions. So very, very solid runs here tonight for both of those guys. Especially for Chad Lang. He's got to throw a Hail Mary to make the chase here tonight, and having a top 5 run will sure help his cause, as Austin Atkinson looks like he'll try to take the spot back, slides up in front of Chad, side by side going into 1 for the 5th position.
Yeah, they continue to battle. Just don't look now. Here comes Bill Brown, and he has definitely got one of the fastest cars on the track at this point. He will dive it in there if he can do it. And not there. Austin Atkinson gives a shove to Chad Lang there, and they're 3 wide.
The lap car of William Fletcher, I don't know if he had anything to do with that. It looks like just Chad got... Oh, Bill Brown again. Oh, we have trouble in turn 2, and that's going to stack him up.
Chad Lang's hard on the wall. Austin Atkinson is around the Cerberus having some problems. That was definitely an interesting wreck. We'll have to take another look at that.
Yeah, that was a very odd wreck. Not really sure what happened. Just like 2 or 3 cars just got sideways, and they just all spun around. See if we can see what happened here. It looks like the 84 of Bill Brown got up into Austin Atkinson. And then the 25 of Joe Nunziata locked him up, got into Bill. Chad Lang got into Bill. Austin spun it around, got into the 38 of Chad Coleman. The 2 of Travis Pinney. There were a couple cars caught up in that, but it doesn't look like really any of them have terminal damage, so they should all still be able to keep going.
It almost looks like Austin Atkinson didn't even see Bill Brown as he cut right down on the right front of Bill Brown, and he does a nice job of keeping it off of Joe Annunziata, but and unfortunate for Chad Lang, who's having such a great run. He gets put hard in the wall, and then Chad Coleman and Travis Pinney get caught up in there, and that is definitely a tough break for Chad, as that's another wreck he's been involved in, and that's definitely just putting insult to injury at that point. For the most part, it's been a pretty tough race for him as leaders are off pit road.
This could be the money stop, as they call it, the final pit stops of the night, possibly. Andrew Fash will lead them down.
Yeah, I don't know about that call. It looks like he has determined that his car does not have any damage, as he was caught up in that wreck, or at least not enough for him to care, as he's ending up taking 2 on this stop, and he's now the leader. So, interesting call by Travis, but he's the driver, and definitely when it's getting down to crunch time, you got to make moves like that, and we'll see how this plays out for him.
We haven't really seen 2 tires here tonight. We've seen Christopher Kurtzel stay out, and we saw how that worked out for him. Didn't really work out, but Travis Pinney taking 2. And we'll see how that works out. I mean, there's not a lot of time left in this race. When they come to take the lap here, it'll be 40 to go. So Travis is going to have to try to hang on here. I'm just not sure how 2 tires is going to work out versus those the leaders all night. Fayesh, Myers, Hicks, and even throw Damon Burnett in there, who has made his way into the top 5, driving his way up there. So we'll see what happens here.
As we're down to just 20 cars on the lead lap, and that last car continues to be Chris Largent, who has just been fixing damage pretty much since lap 1, so he's had a very long race for sure.
Yeah, we saw him involved in that first lap wreck, and ever since then, like you said, he's been repairing damage. Also back there, we see the 9 of Jeff Ramsell, the 55 of Trevor Dalton, all these guys. They were having solid runs at the beginning and just got caught up in nothing of their doing. So there's still time. Don't know if their cars are terminally damaged or not, or if they can keep going or what, but tough break for those guys who were having a solid run earlier in the night, as the field is taking 1 to go.
As we see, Christopher Kurtzel, as he's back in 13th now, as he was the leader on the start of that green flag run, but unfortunately got into the wall, and we'll see how his car is reacting, and will definitely be a guy to watch. As also J.D. Laird has stayed on the lead lap to fix his damage, and as we saw him get in the wall, as we are getting ready to take the green. His car pulls off, and the green flag is out for Travis Pinney.
Travis Pinney takes off, able to sustain a good chunk of a lead over Andrew Fash and Eric Myers. And Travis gets loose going into turn 1. Slides the tires. Andrew will take a look on the outside. They are 3 wide going into turn 3 for the lead. Andrew will take the lead away from Travis, and Eric will take second.
I don't know how Andrew, the guy on the outside, ends up coming away with the lead, but it was a great move, and it looks like Travis is just too loose for his liking, and he moves back at least to the 4th spot, and he's dropped on the outside as he slides right in.
Up to the 3rd position now is...
And now he gets dumped!
Travis gets turned. Matthew Hicks gets turned. Bill Brown right there.
I don't know. He might have got cut down there. That might have been I can go any way you want with that one.
Yeah, I don't know really who to blame on that one. You can't really... I'm not sure if you can blame Travis or... it looks like Matthew Hicks drove it in a little bit deep into the corner. Travis cut down a little bit thinking it was clear. And it just looks like Travis got turned around, kept it going, didn't hit anything. Matthew Hicks gets hit by Bill Brown there. Nobody really looks to have substantial damage, so everybody's still going, but that is a fairly tough break for Pinney, Hicks, even Bill Brown. But Bill Brown is still going, so it's an interesting wreck right there.
Yeah, definitely, and looks like Bill Brown likes the number 3, as in 3 times last week he stayed out. This is now the 3rd time he's been involved in a wreck. And tough break for him, but definitely looking at this wreck, it seems like Travis Pinney definitely thought he was clear, but Matthew Hicks thought otherwise, and they might have just met in the middle at that point.
Well, you gotta also think, Matthew Hicks was running in the top 5 the entire night, looked to have a very, very solid chance of getting his way into the chase after being on the outside looking in. Car doesn't have too much damage, but it's going to be a very tall task for him now to get back to the field.
And while we're working on the caution here, we'll take yet another commercial. You're watching round 10 of the In Their Zone Racing League Nationwide Series here at Richmond International Raceway. We are back here at Richmond International Raceway, getting ready to take the green flag here on lap 100, and just getting down to it. We are now just 31 laps to go this time by, and short track racing going to start eating up as Andrew Fayash gets a great start.
Yeah, Fash with another good start. Into turn 1 looks like we'll take the advantage, and now here comes Damon Burnett in the number 19, looking to take over the second position over Eric Myers. He's side by side down the backstretch. Looks like Damon will have the advantage going into turn 3, and he will take that spot away. Very strong move by Damon Burnett, moving up into the second position.
28 cars down, 1 car to go as he's looking to get crossed over here this time by, but nonetheless Damon has had a very nice drive up from the back half of the field, and he's in the top 5 and top 3 at the moment, so all he has to do is keep that momentum up, and he is a spot starter in this series though, so he's obviously going for the win.
Yeah, another 2 guys we really have not spoken about. Up there in the top 5, Joe Nunziata and Bill Tomer. Bill Tomer running in the 5th position. Haven't said a word about him tonight, I don't think. And he's in the 5th spot, and Joe Nunziata is just another guy who's kept his car clean and running in the 4th spot. So, getting down to it, these guys, both of them, you just miss the wrecks, keep your car clean, mind your own business, and you'll find yourself up here like they have, as that's another guy right there that's about to pass Bill Tomer. Christopher Kurtzel, he's had a nice comeback since his, I guess you could say, pit road strategy move, pit move, I don't know what you could say, but he's made a nice recovery, trying to get back into the top 5 now.
Yeah, it definitely looks like the damage he got from hitting the wall isn't affecting him too much, or at least is fixed at this point, as he is just the back half of this little 4-car pack being led by Damon Burnett, who's getting overtaken, it looks like, by Joe Annunziata as these guys continue to battle it out. But as they're battling out, you're seeing Eric Myers and Andrew Fayash get away pretty quickly.
Yeah, Eric and Andrew basically been the class of the field the entire night, but since we saw Eric take the lead on that long green flag run there for about 30 laps, we haven't really seen him been able to do that, mainly for the fact, I believe, since we haven't had a long green flag run. I believe Eric has been faster on the long green flag runs, so if we get one here towards the end, as we have 25 to go now, coming to 24, it's not a long run, but I think it's enough where Eric thinks he can probably take advantage of it and try to run down here.
It definitely seems to be the same thing, where Andrew will pull off to about a second lead, and then all of a sudden the lead will start retreating, and Eric will start his car will at least start to come in at that point. And, it's up to 9/10 of a second, so definitely if Eric's going to want to throttle down too well, he's going to have to do that. But as we are now looking at the battle for third.
Battle for third here. Christopher Kurtzel has made a very nice comeback, as we have said, in the number 7 machine, as he gets close to the wall there. Trying to take over the third spot. Bill Tomer will try and cross him over. Not sure if it'll work. I believe Bill will clear him off the corner as Christopher tries to do the crossover back in turn 1.
These guys just keep going at it, crossover after crossover. Good old short track racing is now. Damon Burnett takes a peek at Bill Tomer, but he'll slot in line. And these guys are, it's probably the hardest battle on the track and possibly all night, as finally Christopher Kurtzel wins that battle, and he is currently up to the third spot after that pass. As we watch our leader, Andrew Fayash, coming now to 20 laps to go, and just got to keep it consistent. He is still pulling Eric Myers lap by lap at this point, and it's up to just over a second of a lead over Eric, so I think definitely at this point Eric's going to have to go. He's going to have to gain about half a tenth per lap with 20 laps remaining if he's going to want to catch Andrew, and passing him is an entirely different story, so definitely don't go away, as we're about ready to see it. Pretty cool finish.
Yeah, it looks to be shaping up to be a very, very good finish here at Richmond, as the regular season for the In the Zone Racing League will finish after this race. The chase will begin next week, and speaking of the chase, we should mention that the highest running bubble driver, as we've really said all night, has been Christopher Kurtzel. Other than his little mishap, he has mainly been leading the bubble guys, as we have a caution on the track late in the going. I'm trying to see what happened here. Looks like the 16 of William Long, one of the bubble guys, coming in, just gets spun around. Looks like by JD Laird, gets a little bit loose off turn 4, gets spun around, and does a full 360. That will bring out the caution. But he keeps it going, and, well, late race cautions at a short track. This should get interesting.
It looks like the TGI Fridays Mustang car, that's an awesome paint scheme, by the way, just happened to get loose there, and he was able to not hit anything successfully, so I think his hope of getting in the chase is all but over, but definitely the chance at the race is not over yet, as we are nearing the conclusion, though. I do not believe we will see many cars.
Well,
on pit road is actually Andrew Fayash brings down a couple guys.
Yeah, this is a very big pit move by Andrew Fayash, Christopher Kurtzel, Chad Coleman, Bill Tomer, Bill Brown, as more come in. But notable staying out, we have Eric Myers. Yes, Eric Myers has stayed on the racetrack, as well as Matthew Hicks. They both have been pretty fast, but I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to hold off the fresh tire guys. Also staying out is the number 41 of Nick Lancaster. We have not said a word about him tonight, but he's up here late in the go and he stayed out. So Andrew Fash will restart 4th.
Yeah, it looks like most of the top 3 did take 2 tires, and I think you got to do that at this point when you see guys staying out, especially more than one person staying out. Really, you want to be the first car to get to those cars, and with the fresher tires, get around them, because I mean, when you're the leader, you're not the only one. The entire field has to get through these 3 cars, and usually if I'm Andrew Fayash at this point, I just want to be the first car there and to hopefully get around most of them at that point. But it should be interesting here at this point, as some of these guys like Eric Myers have proven that they can stay up front. But guys like Matthew Hicks, who has crash damage, and another guy like Nick Lancaster, who we haven't mentioned all night because he's been running in the back half of the field, this could make the start interesting, especially since he will be restarting in the incident room.
Yeah, this race is not over by any means, but it's going to be fairly difficult, I think, for Andrew to get by these 3 cars, being that he will start on the outside lane, and the bottom is preferred here at Richmond. So even though he has those two fresh right side tires, yeah, I still think it's going to be a difficult task for him to get up to Eric, especially if Eric gets a good restart here. But one car that we really should be looking at is Bill Tomer in the number 5, who came off the pit road in second and will restart in the 5th position. He does also have two fresh right side tires, but he will have that preferred inside lane, so if he gets a good start here, he may be able to do something with these guys, and hey, we may see his, I don't know if we should say surprise winner, but a kind of an upset victory here tonight after we've seen Eric and Andrew dominate the field.
Yeah, definitely these guys up front, particularly these 3 cars up front that did stay out, are going for the win at that point. Rolling the dice, all or nothing, and definitely, as you said, Bill Tomer does have that preferred line, but the question will be is, can Nick Lancaster keep up to speed and allow Bill to get by him? And I don't doubt we might see 3-wide action, maybe even in turn 1, as we've seen before, as these guys have been able to hold 3-wide before, and that's definitely one thing I'd be looking for, as these cars are on the backstretch getting ready for the green flag this time by.
This is going to shape up to be an exciting 12 laps here at Richmond. Last race before the chase, pace car is in, Eric Myers takes off, and we are green.
Just an absolutely amazing start for Eric Myers. He's doing exactly what he needs to do as the field barrels down to turn 1. Matthew Hicks goes high, lets the leaders by. Andrew Fash pinching, and he gets by, and we've got a wreck in the back.
A wreck right after the restart. Looks like there will be no caution on the speedway. Yes, there will be. There is a caution.
Looks like Chris Large and Jason Van Cleek, one of our mobile drivers, gets in there, and it looks like there's also another car. Can't quite depict the number at that point, but definitely a pretty dang big wreck for the guys in the back half of the field. Yeah, it looks like the 75 of Christopher Largen just dives it down in there, and I don't know what the 01 of Jason Van Cleek was doing, but it doesn't look like he was doing anything wrong. He might have been off the pace a little bit for Chris, but looks like Chris just gets into the back of Jason and sends him around, and at that point a couple other cars get collected.
Yeah, nowhere for a few cars to go. But like you said, this is a very, very tough break for Jason Van Cleek in the number 01. He is on the bubble for this chase, so this is not going to help him. But he looks like he will stay on the lead lap. So looks like as long as he'll stay on the lead lap, he'll get a top 20 finish. Probably hoping he could have done better, but that car does not look to be in very good shape right now.
Yeah, the good thing for Jason Van Cleek is the couple other guys, William Fletcher and Doug Gieler, were the guys behind him in the standings looking at him, but both those guys have had troubles and were out of this race well before that incident. So I guess a good thing for Jason is he probably will be locked into the chase at this point as long as he finishes this race. So maybe a little bit of a close call there for his point, but I mean, this race definitely isn't over still.
Yeah, the bubble driver in the 12th spot before this race did begin was the number 28 of William Fletcher. He right now runs in the 23rd spot, 10 laps down, so he will, basically officially, he will not gain any more spots here tonight. And it looks like he will come home with a 23rd place finish. But we still have those lead lap guys on the outside looking in, such as, like we've mentioned, Christopher Kartzel, Matthew Hicks. We've mentioned Jason Van Cleek. He is in the top 12. We've mentioned William Long. He is at the back half of the lead lap. All these guys really that are on the bubble. We've seen some of them have very, very solid races, and we've seen others who have had disappointing or just very bad nights. But the field has gotten one to go. They are in turn 3. Looks like we'll go green this time by No, looks like the lights are still in the pace car, so we will take another lap around. Looks like the field will get one to go this time by.
And it seems like everybody's so eager to race at that point. That was a pretty quick caution, and being a personal race car driver myself, when you get down to this, you don't want to pace. You want to go out there and you want to finish the race right now and get all those nerves off of your and out of your system at least. And I definitely can say that for Eric Myers, who's trying to hang on right now. To the lead, he's got Andrew Fayash with those fresher right side tires, and definitely seems like a tall task, because those two have been the dominant or the class of the field, as you want to call it. And they've got an entire huge pack, all 21 cars in the lead lap strong, that are still in it to win it as getting ready for the restart.
Yeah, really quick, I think what's going to help Andrew here is that you got the two cars behind him in the road, Nick Lancaster and Matthew Hicks. They did stay out, so they are on the older tires. The next car with tires is Christopher Kurtzels. The pace car is in. Eric Myers takes off, gets another great restart. Andrew Fash takes off, and it looks like he will retain the second position with help from Matthew Hicks in the 66.
I see Nick Lancaster get a little bit high in turn 2, and they are battling hard for the third spot, and Andrew Fash is clear of second, and now Matthew Hicks gets banged, or he actually gets knocked home.
We have problems in the back. Bill Brown.
Oh, there goes us.
Annunziata in the inside wall. Is that going to be... Oh, comes back up in front of the track. Hard hit for a lot of these guys. And that looks like that may end this one. Looks like the winner tonight will be Eric Myers in the number 31. So that pit call will turn out to work in his favor.
And definitely just a tough break for Joe Annunziata there, as he gets put in the wall for absolutely none of his fault, and he comes up the track and collects the 01 car of Jason Van Cleek, and that just pretty much puts the kill on Jason's night, as he goes hard into the outside.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if it would have went green there. Looks like Andrew. We don't know if he would have had enough time there to catch Eric, but he did have those two right side tires. Really wasn't able to use them. But staying out would like to be the right move for Eric Myers, as he will take on the W here tonight.
And despite all that, you're going to have Christopher Kurtzel doing exactly what they need to do, having a good night. He's going to come home on the podium, as they call it in road racing, third place, and or more pertaining to the Olympics, which are currently going on, the bronze placing. Definitely a good night for him, and Nick Lancaster, who arguably might have caused that caution, did stay out, but still will come home with a fourth place finish. So good strategy call by him, and rounding out your top 5 will be Chad Coleman, who was at least involved in, I think, 2, maybe possibly 3 wrecks, and came back and got a nice finish.
I believe the race by Christopher Kurtzel, now this is not official, but I believe that will put him in the chase. William Fletcher finishing 23rd here tonight, and Christopher Kurtzel finishing 3rd. The gap was 10 points from Christopher to William. Christopher did what he needed to do, and I believe that will put him in the chase. So, looks like he will compete for a championship.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and finish 20 spots ahead of William. William being 23rd and Christopher being 3rd, so that's 20 points. He only needed 10, so definitely he's going to catch and pass William in the points, and I think a job well done for Christopher going out here and pretty much executing exactly what he needed to do.
I believe also Matthew Hicks, looking out, he was on the outside looking in. He was 4 points ahead of Christopher coming into this race. I believe he was 3 points ahead of Christopher coming into this race. I believe he will come up about 1 or 2 spots short of making the chase. So, He had a good race going all night. He still had a solid finish in 7th place. But it looks like it'll be a little short as they come off of turn 4. Eric Myers will take home the win here at Richmond for round 10 of the In the Zone Racing Nationwide Series.
And as Eric will probably circle around and go do either some burnouts, or he might pulling off, depending upon how he's feeling. I guess at the moment we'll go ahead and take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have interviews from some of the top finishers in tonight's event. Don't go away. Welcome back here as we have just seen the conclusion of the In the Zone Racing League's Nationwide Series regular season here at Richmond International Raceway. And before we talk points, we're going to catch up with our third place finisher here, Christopher Kurtziel. Alright, Chris, and you had one plan out there tonight, and that was to go out there and get a good finish, and you did it, finishing third, and it appears so far you have clinched a spot in the chase. How do you feel about that?
It feels great to make the points. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it tonight.
Alright, you did exactly what you needed to do, and made that call. Especially, it looked like midway through the race you made the call to stay out, and it almost didn't work for you, but you were able to come up there and get a good finish tonight. How was the racing in the pack compared to out front?
Mid-pack it was a little bit scary because of all the action going on, but I got lucky. There was a big wreck and I got through it clean and got up to 7th position and drove my way back up to the front.
Alright, definitely, and with the strong run tonight, you're in the chase, and who makes it happen for that Great Clips sponsored Chevy?
I'd like to thank In the Zone Racing for hosting all these races, and that's about it.
Alright, and that was Christopher Kurtziel with his third finish tonight. He has officially secured a spot in the chase.
Now we will talk to our second place finisher tonight, Andrew Fash. Well, Andrew, we saw your race started out. It seemed like you had a pretty solid race throughout the pretty much the entire 130 laps. Talk to us about how it went.
Yeah, the first run I overdrove a little bit too much early and it got loose on the longer run, but you know, I learned what I did wrong there. I know exactly what I was doing. to make it too loose. So changed my lineup a little bit for the next few runs, because once you wear out the right rear, there's no coming back. But yeah, the next few runs were fine, and it was just a matter of catching cautions at the wrong time. That's all.
Yeah, we saw you pit there. You came off pit road there. Those final stops in first with those 2 tires. I'm assuming you thought it was going to work out, as probably did most people, but unfortunately the caution just did not fall your way. If you went back green, I know Eric was strong, but do you believe you really could have gotten him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll tell you the same thing. It's tires is a big factor here. He thought more people were going to stay out. That's why he stayed out. I knew everyone behind me was going to just do, for the most part, opposite of me. I was actually surprised as many pit as they did, but I figured we had 18 to go when the first caution came out. So I figured if we could go green the rest of the way, I could probably get about 10 people, but with newer tires. But yeah, it was just I don't know. I ran out of time. I don't understand. I looked at both those cautions on the replay. I don't understand why either of them had to happen, and it was just a little frustrating.
Well, you are the regular season champion, I guess if you want to call it, with your 2 wins. So going into the chase, you're gonna, I believe, be the points leader. So who would you like to thank for tonight's efforts?
I'd just like to thank ITZR, you guys, and everyone who's watching for tuning in and for putting this on and everything. I look forward to the chase. I was trying to just get some extra bonus points by winning tonight. That was the goal, and this is one of my favorite tracks by far, and just didn't work out. We'll go to California. I don't even have California yet, so I'll have to buy it, and we'll go there in 2 weeks and give it a shot, see what we can do for the championship here.
Alright, well that was Andrew Fash, your 2nd place finisher here tonight. Also the regular season champion of the In the Zone Racing League.
And I believe we are now going to catch up with your race winner, Eric Myers. Alright, and we've caught up here with our winner, Eric Myers. And Eric, talk to us about that call at the end of the race to stay out and ultimately get the win.
Well, honestly, I saw we were going to have about 15 laps to go. I figured that more people would have stayed out, and then I looked in my mirror and saw that absolutely no one was behind me except for Matt Hicks. And then I kind of figured I would have been screwed. It turned out to be a good call. I didn't expect us to have as many cautions as we did. We were having quite a few green flag runs there. But I kind of figured Fash, once he got past the few cars he did on that first green flag, he would have got me. But luckily I held on for the win.
Seems like as we got the longer runs, you seem to have the better car compared to guys like Andrew Fash. How did you manage to usually have the better car in the long run compared to some of the other guys you were battling?
One of the things I do really bad at Richmond is I drive it in really bad and tend to wear out my tires pretty bad. So I tried during practice not to drive it in and back up my corners a lot. It seemed to help out, and the setup actually helped get a little bit looser over the long run, and that seemed to help me out on corner exit, and it definitely helped it over the long run. And I'm not sure whether Fash was getting tighter or lost concentration, but it seemed to help me out over the long run. With the setup did. It was a pretty good setup we had for the race. So.
Alright, and definitely you had a very good run tonight, dominated for the most part. Is there anyone you want to thank for tonight's efforts?
Yeah, all the guys that run ITZR, Bill, Kevin, everyone that makes it possible, Doug, Thomas, everyone, that it runs ITZR behind the scenes. It wouldn't be possible without them, and everyone that shows up for the league week in, week out. It's definitely been the funnest year I've had in sim racing that I can remember. It's definitely been one hell of a year. And people out there that are watching, come race with us in ITZRNW.com. Sign up for one of our leagues. We got Truck Series, Nationwide Series. Come out and have some fun.
Alright, that's your race winner, Eric Myers, after his dominating efforts tonight. He takes home the W here at Richmond International Raceway. And while we just finished up our interviews tonight, that is all we are going to be able to talk to. We will now be able to do a full field run through as in terms of the finishing order, and obviously we just got done talking with him. Eric Myers is your official winner tonight at Richmond, and Andrew Fash is going to end up finishing second. Just didn't have enough time, as he explained, to get there and have a chance at the lead, but still second place, a very strong finish for him. Christopher Kurtziel finishing third tonight will help him secure a spot in the chase. Definitely congratulations to him. And Nick Lancaster comes home fourth after a nice strategy call at the end.
Rounding out the top 5 tonight, Chad Coleman, who also had a very nice comeback after his start to the race, being involved in that early wreck with Bill Brown there and a few others. He comes home 5th. Another guy, Bill Tomer, had a very solid race, finishes in the 6th spot. Matthew Hicks in 7th, who I believe will come up just short of making the chase. And finishing in 8th is the number 13, who had a pretty quiet night, but got a top 10. The number 13 of Kevin Malone.
Yeah, finishing 9th in tonight's event was Damon Burnett, who started 23rd, was up toward the front, and just couldn't hang on at the end. And Jeff Ramsdell finishes 10th, and he had a very nice comeback after getting involved in that early wreck and top 10. Definitely feels humbling for Jeff, and good efforts tonight. And finishing 11th in tonight's event will be Travis Finney, and finishing 12th with probably the worst wounded car in tonight's event, Bill Brown, as he was involved in countless number of wrecks.
Finishing lucky number 13 was the number 51 of Fred Morrow. We saw him up in the top 10 there earlier in the race, but just couldn't get it done at the end. And 14th was number 76 of Corey Anglin. And 15th we have solid finish for Trevor Dalton, number 55. We saw him also in the top 10, but really couldn't finish it out. And in 16th, another guy who had a very beaten up car all night, the number 75 of Chris Largent, just didn't seem to miss a wreck out there tonight. Came home 16th with a pretty beat up car.
Finishing 17th tonight's event will be the number 16 of William Long, and finishing 18th was J.D. Laird, who we saw got up into the wall hard, and he was able to stay on the lead lap, and definitely a tough night for him. Finishing 19th, who started second to last in the field, was Chris Turquoise, and he finishes on the lead lap and definitely did good. Finishing 20th is Joe Annunziata, and his 21st, will be Daniel Laveria.
Finishing 22nd in tonight's event, just barely inside the chase, Jason Van Cleek in the 01. And right behind him, the second guy, I should say, outside of the chase, the number 28 of William Fletcher. He had that spot going into the night, and just had one too many problems, and just couldn't finish it off. So that's disappointing for him. Scott Rutherford, number 99, will finish in the 24th spot after having problems. And 25th is Doug Giller in the number 94, who also had a lot of problems.
Yeah, finishing 26th in tonight's event will be the number 29 of Chad Lane. Finishing 27th, who's caught up in one of those huge wrecks coming off of turn 2. Tough break for Austin Atkinson, just getting ready to talk about how he was going to have a good night just before that wreck. And obviously Lee Walker finishing 29th. He had that very hard hit, and definitely it's a tough break for him.
And we got last 4 cars here in the field. Number 02 is Scott Geiswhite, also problems tonight. Byron, the number 77, we saw him have very early problems on lap 1. He comes home 30th. 31st, also involved in a lap 1 wreck. Thomas Matier, the second. And rounding out the field tonight in the number 71 is Peter Fisher. So, we saw a good race here tonight. What do you think, Shane?
Well, it was a pretty interesting race. Obviously, when you come to Richmond, you have a lot of great short track action racing, and the first couple of runs it was pretty calm, and then it seems like when we got to that mid part of the race, guys started trying to go. They made strategy calls, and it really shook up and created a lot of big, hectic wrecks that we saw. At least 2 to 3 wrecks where there was at least 4 or 5 cars involved, and it took out a lot of the guys who were on the bubble, and at the same time created opportunities for those on the outside looking in, and Christopher Kurtziel was the biggest notable guy to take advantage of the struggles of guys like William Fletcher and other guys around him, and that definitely shaked up the points big time, as we predicted. And anytime you have that happen in a final race of a regular season, it always creates great action, and I think definitely that will be the highlight of this week as we head out now into the chase, week 1 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, the chase, no matter what league, no matter what series, always exciting. So, we'll see what that brings in 2 weeks from today, as we will now leave the Richmond International Raceway. Eric Myers, your winner. For Brandon Hoff,
Shane Doherty.
signing off from Checkered Flag Interactive here at the Richmond International Raceway for round 10 of the In the Zone Racing Nationwide Series.
Good night, y'all.